There we go.
Did all of you get the Lynn's message that we are postponing monthly meeting for at least a week? So, okay. Wanted to
Yes.
make sure. Lots of us not going to be here, so a thing to do. Norma, back in the good old days at West Newton, they're in West Newton. I'm not sure they ever postponed monthly meeting, but seemed like we showed up every monthly meeting, and the good thing was we got to eat
That's
along
right.
with monthly meeting.
I miss that.
Yeah, we had good carrying dinners.
Guess we could all DoorDash, make us feel like we're at home. It's a difference in the generations. Of course, we work on the farm, and our youngest grandson, Mason, who's a senior in high school, he and I were driving the tractor and decided we were getting hungry. And so instead of stopping and going and getting the truck and going someplace to eat, he just called DoorDash and had it brought to the farm. It's a new day. So,
Sounds good, Stephen. Go ahead. Oops, he clicked off completely. Oh, there he is. Okay. It is 9:30. Time for us to begin, and this is probably all of us that are going to be here today. I've got some gathering music. Then we'll do joys and concerns, and then proceed with meeting for worship.
you notice how she always takes me out of the picture.
Yes.
Well, let's see. We have a number of people who aren't with us today. Brent is still somewhat under the weather. Dave Mills is in the hospital, probably with cellulitis, although Brent didn't give a name to what he has, but he's got some kind of an infection in his legs and is undergoing IV antibiotics. Kristen was going to join us since this is monthly meeting Sunday, but she's traveling and having complications with her travel, so she was not near a computer at meeting for worship time.
Dan and Sylvia.
Dan and Sylvia have company in Belize and are playing tour guides, and so they will not be joining us today either. We need to keep them all in our prayers, obviously. Are there other joys or concerns to share?
My daughter-in-law's grandma passed away, so if you could hold Keisha in your thoughts and prayers.
Well, let's center down for worship for a little while. Chip is our worship leader, and he will speak out of the silence as he feels led. If you could mute your computers, that would help with feedback issues.
Good morning, friends. Thank you, Lynn, for playing All Things Bright and Beautiful. The first line of the song is, all things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, in love God made them all. I want you to think about what that means to you. The part that jumps out to me is all creatures great and small. I have always felt a connection with animals of all kinds. But then I'm getting ahead of myself. More about that later. The scripture for today comes from Psalms 46:10. I have two versions of this. The first, be still and know that be still and know that I am God, and I will be exalted among the heaven. I will be exalted on the earth. That was from the King James Version of the Bible. However, I like this version of Psalms from the Message Bible, the Bible of contemporary language. It goes like this. Attention all, see the marvels of God. He plants flowers and trees all over the earth, bans war from pole to pole, breaks all the weapons across his knee. Step out of the traffic. Take a long, loving look at me, your high God, above politics, above everything. Kind of a difference. We have gone through 2 holidays in a month, Christmas and New Year's. During this time, I have watched some wonderful film classics, and I'm going to mention 3 in my message. And I don't know if you've seen them or not, but I won't give anything away. They are A Christmas Carol, 1938, Repeat Performance, 1947, and Sunset Boulevard, 1950. I like the 1938 version of A Christmas Carol mostly because of all the joy the children show when they get an orange and how they enjoy their meal together. In this film, the main character is visited by 3 ghosts and gets to see his past, what is going on in the present, and what could be in his future. In Repeat Performance, the main character at the start of the film sees something awful on New Year's Eve and has a chance to live the year over and try to change how the film begins. In Sunset Boulevard, the film starts out at the ending, and the one character does a flashback and tells the audience how everything happened. So in the first film, A Christmas Carol, the actor sees what could happen that could change what the outcome is. In Repeat Performance, the actor knows what will happen if things are not changed, and she must try and change them. And the third film, Sunset Boulevard, it's all set in stone, and the actor can't change anything but only tell what has happened. So, have you ever wondered what it might be like to relive a year? Would you want to know things you might be able to change, or would you just want to relive the year and have no idea what happens next? Well, I did an experiment when I read the following. A Buddhist monk once said, if you're 37, instead of regretting that you can't wake up age 18, pretend to yourself that you're 90 and you've woken up and you're 37 again, and that you get to magically live the next 50 years over. So I thought to myself, before New Year's Eve, that I would go to bed on New Year's Eve, and at the age of 90, I would wake up and be age 76. Now, as an actor, I really like getting into the part. So for several days, I went around telling myself I was 90 and would be moving in with Brandon because I was no longer able to live alone. He does have a room for me just in case that happens. And I saw the mess of the house, and I told myself that they were cleaning things out so that Drake and his wife could move in. I'm happy to say that I really got into my part. Troy was the only one I told about my plans. I wasn't able to stay awake till midnight, so I went to bed thinking how old I felt, but I was looking forward to moving in with Brandon and Keisha and having home-cooked meals. Keisha is a wonderful cook. And then I began counting backwards from 100, as is my normal practice as I fall asleep. Now, I had to have someone tell me I was going to wake up younger. Now, would it be a ghost, a spirit, or an angel from God? I wasn't really sure who the person was that was bringing me the news, who the person bringing me the news was, but she looked an awful lot like Elizabeth Taylor. I woke up about 3:30 a.m. on New Year's Day. As I got out of bed, I looked around, and in my best Betty Davis voice, I said, "What a dump." And I went into the bathroom to get a drink of water, and then I saw him, my cat Monty. Suddenly, I realized if I had been 90, Monty would have been gone for years. I picked him up and gave him a big hug and told him how much I missed him. I looked for my other two cats and gave Miss Taylor and Maggie big hugs as well. I went into the kitchen and looked out the window. It was pretty, and I just stood there and watched. Now, my plan had been to wake up younger and really get to work on my house and organize stuff, but that didn't happen. I found myself enjoying the company of my cats. I didn't try to get things done when a cat was sleeping on my lap. As time moved on, I found myself taking more and more time to look and enjoy the simple things. I loved watching the birds and the critters come to the feeding station to eat. I looked at all the things around my house more, looking at details, enjoying the memories where things came from, or who gave them to me, or who was with me when I found them. I found myself waiting like a loyal dog, waiting for my grandson to get off the bus from school. And when I would see him, well, if I had a tail, it would have wagged. I ran to him, gave him a big hug, and asked about his day. Although as this time of year, I do not have any roses in my yard, but I kept thinking about the saying, "Stop and smell the roses." And Monty's arrived. It makes me realize I walk too fast. In fact, I may do a lot of things too fast. I remember when life was much slower and I had more time to slow down and enjoy life. I was a hippie. And I enjoyed relaxing and just being in the present moment. And now, not only did I wake up younger, but I realized what I had missed all those years. I was now living in a time where I allowed myself to enjoy all things, great and small. I found that I call or text people to see how they are. I enjoy being with my friends and family. I wake up every morning and thank God for getting the cats and me through the night. And I always say, I'm going to have a wonderful day. And every day is wonderful. I found this on the internet, and I have no idea who might have said it, but it really sums up my feelings. In Psalms 46:10, God says, "Be still and know that I am God." This verse reminds us that slowing down helps us recognize God's presence. When we were always busy, we might forget to spend time with him or notice his blessings around us. Slowing down gives us room to pray, read his words, and listen to his voice. It's in these quiet moments that we grow closer to God. And then there's always the immortal words of Paul Simon. Slow down, you move too fast. You got to make the morning last. Just kicking down the cobblestones, looking for fun and feeling groovy. So what did I learn from my experiment? Well, live in the moment. Eat to enjoy the food and the company. Enjoy the beauty around you. Don't be in a rush. And when they are around, stop and smell the roses. As we are about to enter in an interesting time in our lives, so much is going on that could end positive or ending, let's say, not good. A ceasefire now is in effect with Gaza and Israel. There's war going on between Russia and Ukraine. And there are wars going on around the world we don't even know about. There are fires and landslides going on in California. Really cold weather is on the way for a big part of the nation. And there's this big issue with TikTok, something I have never used, so I know nothing about it. And we have a new president that will take office tomorrow. We need to hold all those affected in God's light. We all have to get through the new year together. May the light of God surround you. May the love of God enfold you. May the power of God protect you. And may the presence of God watch over you. For wherever you are, God is.
Chip, I really appreciate your words this morning. One of my worst habits is borrowing trouble from the future, and then as when I do that, I don't see the beauty of God in the current moment. So I'm trying to learn that the places where I find myself borrowing trouble are the places that I'm called to hold in God's light and then let go. And I'm not good at any of that, but I really appreciate your words of encouragement this morning. we've reached that time where some of us need to go to other responsibilities, and the rest of us can stay and enjoy more open worship. If you're one of the ones that needs to go, we wish you Godspeed and look forward to seeing you next time.
I'm reflecting on Chip's share, and I'm thinking of being present. I'm thinking of being present, and I think of today, 170 million people will not be on their I'm thinking the TikTok account, and they're going to be present. And I wonder how their days are going to go. And hopefully they get to look out and see birds flying by and maybe talk to a loved one. So I know there's 170 million people that are very upset, but I think there might be gifts there. So thank you for sharing that message of being present, Chip.
Thank you.
If all hearts are clear, we can close meeting at this point. Thank you again, Chip, for your thought-provoking message, and good to see everybody.
Thank you.
Stay warm this next week.
Yeah. Bye.
Goodbye.